So again, this is Ed Crow. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about the Walmarts for this coming AEP. This will be a pretty quick webinar. I am recording it. So more or less, we're going to just give a general overview of the Walmart program. I'm going to have some bad news for you, and then I'm going to just try to use some window dressing to sugarcoat it with some other stuff. So, there are some other pieces of news other than that. So we're going to talk about the change. Speaking of, we're going to talk about the change to the pricing and the enrollments, talking about how you can use the LEAD program to help reimburse that new price of the Walmart. Go a little bit over the bid process. I get a lot of questions about the bid process for people to renew stores and also for people to try to get a new store. So we'll talk about that. And then we're just going to talk about some changes on the kiosk location and some various promotions that they're going to run to try to help things out a little bit in the store. A couple quick things. As I said, I do record these. If you have questions during this webinar, please just send them in. I will answer them at the end, and this one will be pretty short, 15, maybe not even 15 minutes, maybe more like somewhere in between 10 and 15. So send those questions in. I'll be happy to answer those at the end for you. We do webinars every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock on various topics. Tomorrow we're going over chronic condition SNP plans. For those in Connecticut, there really aren't any here, but in other states, obviously that's applicable. And having said that, let's get started. Oh, and I forgot, and everybody will get the recording when we're done. Okay, so might as well just get this started, kind of get right to it here. Change to pricing and enrollments. So I think most of you on this call know this, but Walmart has changed their price. They are going to be $1,500 this year for the Walmart. So those who had a store last year, as you know, the store was $500, but if you did your reporting, you got $250 of that back. That is gone. There is no type of reimbursement now from Market Point or Walmart for the store. It's just a straight up $1,500 for the store. So that's one change they're making, and there's no reimbursement. Now, of course, I think I talk about this in a later slide, which is why I hesitated. But of course, if you wanted to split this up with multiple agents, you could to break up the cost increase, of course. The other change that they're proposing right now, I don't think it's going to happen, is they're talking about all enrollments needing to be processed through their Connecture site portal so they can track it all. Obviously, you'd still be the agent of record and get paid direct on everything. They're not taking anything out of the commission or anything like that. You're just paying the store fee. But they're talking about having their own portal for the enrollments to be processed through when you work the Walmart. But again, that's a proposal. It's not final, and I don't really think it'll happen. But I just wanted to mention it just in case. Oh, there's what I was talking about on the slide. So obviously, multiple agents can work a store. So if you wanted to work at the store with another agent, you could certainly split up the cost that way. But as you might know, or those who are in the program last year, there needs to be one lead agent on that store. So, technically they would be the agent. But when you do make the payment for the store, which we process through Pinnacle, you could do half each if you wanted. So what about this store cost? Well, first of all, Walmart keeps all of it. The uplines, or nobody gets a piece of that. That's just their cost for the store. As far as offsetting the cost, our LEAD program can be used for this. So our LEAD program will reimburse, as you know, it's capped at $500. It will reimburse $500 towards the store cost. You need to be eligible for our LEAD program in order to do that, however. And the usual rules with the LEAD program apply. Paid receipt within 30 days of paying it. So if you send the payment into Pinnacle, you got to get receipt that's got to be paid. You got to get a receipt from them within 30 days to us. This will count as your monthly reimbursement. So if you can't reimburse both leads for the month and the Walmart, the $500 for Walmart would count as your lead reimbursement for the store, or for the program for the month. The bid process. So the bid process for Walmart is similar to years past, where we're in round one right now. Emails went out last week for round one, and that means anyone that had a store last year has first right of refusal on that store now. So we sent that out if you were somebody who had a store and said, do you want to keep your store, yes or no? If you want to keep your store, the payment must be made by Friday. So it's got to be sent in with the payment form we sent out. It's got to be sent in by Friday. If it isn't received by Friday, then the store will be put up for grabs and put in the round two bidding process, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. We need to know, the payment's got to go by Friday, but we need to know today if, for a few people that might be on the fence, we need to know one way or the other if you're giving it up or if you're keeping it today. Payment's got to be made by Friday. Also made a note here to talk about agents with zero reported sales for last year. So there are some agents that reported zero sales last year in their Walmart. Now, if they're not renewing and keeping their store, Walmart doesn't care. However, if you reported zero sales last year in the store, but you want to keep the store, pay $1,500 and keep it, that raises their antenna up a little bit. And they're going to say to you, well, if you didn't sell anything in it last year, why do you want to keep it this year? And they're reading between the lines here. They're thinking that just the reporting wasn't done. And you'll have to send in an explanation as to why you didn't have any sales last year and you want it this year. People have been asking me. What I've been saying is, one of two things really. You could say, well, I didn't put as much time and effort into it last year as I wanted to. I'm going to do it this year. Much more committed to it this year. Or some of the other scenarios have been, I didn't understand the reporting last year. I didn't do it. I'm familiar with it now. I'm going to commit to it, and you can rest assured I will do the reporting this year. But regardless, they're going to want some kind of explanation if that is your scenario with trying to renew your store. And again, if I get questions, please feel free to send them in. I will answer them for you at the end. Okay, so once round one finishes up this week, then round two is going to start shortly thereafter. Round two is your opportunity to get a new or additional store, so a store you weren't in last year. The date hasn't been announced yet. We are going to get the initial round two list on Friday. I assume that round two will start. They'll make the announcement. It'll start in the next week or two, I would think. Usually there aren't a ton of new and available stores in round two. I think this year there will be quite a few because you'll have people in round one that decided not to keep their store. It'll throw it into the pool then for round two. So I think those looking to add additional stores, or maybe you couldn't get a store last year and you want one this year, that round two list, when it comes out initially, it's just going to be the open stores. But then there's going to be an amendment to that list, which will include all the stores that people didn't renew. So I think you'll have a pretty good opportunity to grab new stores if you want them, because I think there'll be more available. My initial reaction when Walmart increased this price was that a lot of people wouldn't renew their store. I was thinking like maybe half, but that hasn't been the case at all. It's been, I would probably say, about a 90% renewal, where about 90% of the agents so far who had a store last year, even with the increased price, have decided to keep their store. So it was a much higher percentage than I would have anticipated for sure. So in round two, the way that works is when the list comes out, what you would do is send us your top 3 desired locations and hope you get one of them. So you'd want to give us 3 that you could see yourself working, list them in priority. Hey, this is my top priority, second and third. You would send us that list in round two, and we'll send it in and hope that you get the store. So there were some kind of speaking points Walmart gave us as far as some changes. As a lot of you are familiar, in some years you had to negotiate with the manager to try to get a good location for your kiosk in the store. Maybe they try to put you back in the toy section, which isn't very helpful. This year, all the locations are predetermined. They're going to be preset. There will be no negotiating with the manager. They don't have a choice. Walmart does realize if they're charging more, that's got to be cleaned up, and I feel pretty comfortable they're going to do that. So they have said to us that store locations will be preset in high traffic areas. So that's what they've told us. So there will be no more fighting with the manager over a location. For those, this might be opening a can of worms, but telesales for Walmart will be sending people to the store that they can't close over the phone. So if they can't close them over the phone, they'll send them to the locations that have agents to try to get them to sign up there. Yes, Walmart does have a telesales unit, for those not familiar. They're sending mail out, and it's phone-only sales. They don't have any feet on the street agents, but they have telesales unit, and they do try to close sales over the phone, for those not familiar. Other thing they're doing is they're going to, when they print receipts out at the registers, the agents, they're going to have a kind of a promotion on the back of the receipt with the agent's name and phone number. And they're also going to have that on the pharmacy slip as well, which probably would be more helpful, I would think. But nonetheless, it will be on both the counter receipts and the pharmacy slips. They're telling us they're going to run radio ads and social media campaigns for this, and they're going to have TV wall advertisements. So I guess they're going to have TVs up with advertisements for, meeting somebody at the store and learning more about your options with Medicare. Just wanted to give you a couple store tips. We've had people work in Walmarts for a long time, and I just get to talk to a lot of people and see a lot of different scenarios in stores. Obviously, some stores have more traffic than others. If you can get in a super center, that's always great. If you can get in a really busy Walmart, that's always great. And I think going into this initially a bunch of years back, I used to work at Walmart for a couple of years. Myself and some people on this call actually worked it together. And we did really well. We had a great location, and we sold hundreds of plans there and still have some of those clients today. But I think initially I thought to myself, well, traffic in the store is really that's the most important thing, and it's important. But what I've found is the agent in the store is really more important. And we have test cases of this. I'll give you an example. We have had in years past an agent in a store where they've made very few sales, and then the following year a new agent went into that store, same store, traffic didn't really change from one year to the next, and that agent just killed that store and did really well. So the person working the store really makes a huge difference. And stores that we thought in the past weren't any good, it turns out a new agent came in and just had a different approach and worked harder at it, or whatever the case may be, but they made that store very productive. The whole key with this thing is getting people to the table. You got to get them to approach your table. If you don't, you're just not going to do well. And so you should get creative when thinking about ways to get people to the table. And obviously creative and cool giveaways are a very good way to do that. So having, attractive giveaways. I know I don't want to give away everybody's trade secrets. I'll leave kind of that open to your imagination. But the better the items at the table, the better the chance people are going to walk over and talk to you. Having a good relationship with the pharmacy is a huge one. One of the things that's tried and true that you always see happen is agents that create really good pharmacy relationships, talk to the pharmacists. Sometimes, I've even seen people have like pizza parties for the employees, and that's what we did when we worked the store and for the pharmacy. But at least letting the pharmacist know that you know what you're talking about, you know MSP well, you're familiar with the insulin saving program, with the drug plans that actually will put a cap on the name brand insulins. Just letting them know that you're in the know and you know what you're doing, and having consistent hours at the store. I didn't list that, but I should have. Those things make a big difference, because if those pharmacists are comfortable with you, they will send people over. And if they can rely on you being there, they'll send people over. So just wanted to give a couple tips there as far as working a store and the things that we've seen agents do to be successful. So the other thing is reporting. I mentioned about the agents reporting zero or having, obviously reported zero. Walmart's going to have an issue with that. they're going to have a bigger issue with it this year. So agents that report zero or have very low sales in stores, I don't know what low means right now. They haven't told us that yet. But there's a pretty good chance that they're not even going to give you an opportunity to keep the store the following year. So that's something to keep in mind. They are going to set some kind of minimum expectation for that store. But like I said, zero definitely probably won't have a chance to renew next year. And, whatever is below the minimum that's yet to be determined, will probably have a lesser chance to renew the store. A lot of people asking me, not just on the webinar right now, but I've had quite a lot of questions recently about OEP. Are you going to be able to keep your table during OEP? I don't know. I'm waiting for an answer on that, and don't have it yet. But I certainly will send out an update once I know. And then a question I'm anticipating, I haven't looked into the webinar to see what questions have been sent in, but what's the cost for the store going to be next year? I have no idea. They have not shared that at all. They haven't given any suggestions. I have a lot of people saying, well, are they going to increase it more next year? It's a great question. I don't know. I really don't. So I just know that this year it's $1,500. Obviously, that's a big jump from last year. But having said that, we still have pretty good demand for the stores, way more than I had anticipated. That is it. Right about 15 minutes. I appreciate you coming on today. I really do. I hope this was helpful in some regard. I know I had some bad news there. I think most of you were familiar with the changes already, especially with the store cost. But the tips I gave, those are just what I've seen from people who do well in stores, really. Just, again, getting creative. Another thing I'll mention is buying the giveaways at the Walmart and, making sure the manager knows that, and that can also help as well. Buying the stuff there can help as well. And then just getting creative so the employees, the pharmacists, and everybody knows who you are. If they like you, it helps because they'll refer people in the store to you. They'll refer family members to you, and having consistent hours. Those are the big things. Like I said, we do webinars every Wednesday and Thursday at 1. I will send out the recording to everyone that registers. So for future reference, if you want to go to watch a webinar but you're not available, just register for it and you'll get the recording. Having said that, let's see if we have any questions. All right, we have a couple. If two agents split the cost, can they both submit for the 500? Yes, they could. But one point to make, if you were 50%, if you're splitting it, that's $750 each. And if you're a person who's been on the lead program for a while, it's 50% up to 500. So I'm horrible at math. So whatever 50% of 750 is. Next question was, who furnishes the setup for the kiosk? Well, that's either Walmart or Direct Health. I think it's actually Walmart. We'll do that, not the agent. So that's taken care of for you. If a store, okay, here's a good question. I was actually hoping you didn't ask this because I don't know the answer. If a store is shared, is only one name on the receipt? We had the same question. That question is in the queue. We don't have an answer for it yet. I'm thinking the answer is going to be probably yes, because remember, even though a store is shared, there's one lead agent on a store. So I think the answer to that is, I just don't know. I haven't had confirmation. Whoever that person is who has responsibility for the reporting in the store, I think that's going to be their name on the receipt. Good question. Let's see if we have any others. Those are good ones. Well, looks like that's it for questions for now. If you have any more, certainly just give us a call here at the office, 203-796-5403, or shoot us an email. We'd be happy to answer your questions as soon as round 2 as soon as we're aware of when round 2 starts, we will certainly send that out with the available stores. And again, remember, if you're on the fence about a store with us, we need to know by today, and payment's due Friday. And if payment isn't received Friday, the store will be lost. So appreciate you coming on today. Again, if you have any questions, give us a call, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.